Hello. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Fan Talk. This is a podcast by me, Kyle Brenchley, and we talk about sports here, so we have a good time. This week, all right, I can't contain it any longer. I can't keep my professionalism in much longer. This week, it's going to be the Jimmy Butler show. I wish I could get him on here. I wish I could bring him on. Jimmy Butler and Kyle Brenchley on Fan Talk. Man, all other sports take a back seat. This week, let's talk about Jimmy Butler, a.k.a. the baddest man in the world right now, in the world of sports. All right, so this is what we're going to do. Real quick, Fan Talk. You can find me on Spotify, iHeartRadio, and YouTube. I usually talk about Major League Baseball, NBA, NFL, college sports. Those are kind of my niches. And I approach it from the perspective of a fan. So kind of cool. I bring guests on every so often. This will be the last episode here in the studio. Go check out my last video on what the future of the podcast will be. But I'm excited. So without further ado, let's just get into Jimmy Butler, a.k.a. Jimmy Buckets. So if you're watching the NBA playoffs, last night, you had to watch it to believe it. It was insane. Absolutely insane. The Miami Heat, 8 seed in the Eastern Conference, took down the number 1 seed, the Milwaukee Bucks, and the favorites. The Milwaukee Bucks were favorites to win the finals. All the experts were picking them. They said this is the best Bucks team that we've seen with Giannis. They're going to win. Number 1 overall seed in the East. They're playing the Heat. The Heat had to play in the play-in tournament just to get into the playoffs. There was a good chance they didn't even get in, but they got in. And the Heat won last night, 128-126, to beat the Bucks and to send the Bucks home. 4-1 series win, a gentleman's sweep, led by none other than Jimmy Butler. So I'm gonna stop right now. There's a lot of directions that we could go with this. There's a lot of conversation around this game, around the comments that Giannis made in the press conference, around Mike Budenholzer's coaching style, around the disappointing season from the Bucks when it came to the postseason. But I want to talk first and foremost about Jimmy Butler. We got to give respect where respect is due. And there's 3 areas I want to dish out respect. First, Erik Spoelstra, coach of the Miami Heat. This guy is a genius. He's one of the best coaches in basketball right now. He's one of the smartest coaches. He's definitely going to be remembered as one of the best all-time greats when he moves on. He's been with the Heat for a long time. He was coaching LeBron, D-Wade, Chris Bosh, when they were there years ago. He was coaching in the periods between LeBron leaving and D-Wade being there, and then D-Wade leaving, and then Jimmy Butler coming. He's been there. He's been there through the thick and thin, and he knows how to make adjustments. He knows how to coach. He knows how to win. I want to talk about the supporting cast of the Miami Heat. Tyler Hero broke his hand and is out, and so they're missing one of their key players. The Miami Heat, they're a good, solid team. But Jimmy Butler obviously is their superstar. But there was some really good performances. A big shot by Gabe Vincent. Kevin Love hit a bunch of 3-pointers. That old man can still play. Great defense by Highsmith. He was only in there a couple minutes. Bam Adebayo played very well. Max Strus. Caleb Martin coming off the bench. These players who don't get any screen time. They don't get any time on these talk shows, on these podcasts. Ain't nobody talking about them. They helped, and they should deserve recognition. So take a bow, Miami Heat supporting cast. And of course, Jimmy Butler, Superman in disguise. So here we go. Let me just show you his stat line. Let me just fanboy over Jimmy Butler for a couple minutes here. So last night's game, 42 points, 8 rebounds, and made 17 out of 33 field goals by being guarded by Drew Holiday, who, if you have heard, NBA players and coaches took an anonymous survey about a week ago, and they were asked various questions. One of the questions was, who do you think is the hardest defender in the league? And they all said Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday is one of the best defenders, according to players and coaches. He was being guarded by Drew Holiday. Jimmy Butler was. And Jimmy Butler put up 42 points, 8 rebounds, and hit 17 shots. Incredible. And I think things obviously got crazy, in the fourth quarter. The Bucks were up 102-86 to end the third quarter. They're up by 16. Everyone's like, okay, they're going to cruise to a victory, force a game 6. Miami and Jimmy Butler says, no way, Jose. We're going to close this out right here, right now, because you never know what's going to happen if you lose this game here. So they go on a 42-24 run to finish the game. Milwaukee didn't hit a shot in the fourth quarter until 7-minute mark. So 5 minutes without hitting a shot. Bucks had no answer. Antetokounmpo missed 13 free throws. And Jimmy Butler, down 2, game-winning layup with 2 seconds left, catches the ball, and he's in midair. He's falling back. His feet are off the ground. He's trying to keep his body from flailing. Catches the ball, throws it up. Nothing but nylon to force overtime. Now I was sitting there on my couch watching this, and I was like, no way. 3 nights in a row, because the night before Trae Young hit a deep 3 to beat the Celtics, and then before that, Jimmy Butler had his historic 56-point performance against the Bucks, led the comeback and won and went up 3-1. So that game is almost more pivotal than this game, because that game set up this deep hole that the Bucks were in and allowed for Jimmy Butler to be Jimmy Butler and to put on his Superman cape and to win again. Another historic performance. So let's see, what's 56 plus 42? That is 98 points. 98 points in the last 2 games being guarded by Drew Holiday. And then, as you know, in overtime, they went on to win. It really helped that the Bucks were totally scatterbrained on what to do with 7 seconds left. They dribble down the ball. Giannis doesn't want it. He gives it to Chris Middleton. Chris Middleton's guarded. He gives it to Grayson Allen. Grayson Allen pumps, gets rid of his defender, and has an open lane, but just doesn't know what to do with the ball. The Bucks were in shock. Jimmy Butler had come into Milwaukee, and he had melted all the cheeseheads and the hearts of the Milwaukee Buck fans and took over. Incredible. Simply incredible. Jimmy Buckets. Jimmy Butler. Oh, the Bucks are gone. The Heat are moving on. They'll play the Knicks. That should be super fun. But if I were the Knicks, I would be scared silly after what Jimmy Butler just did to the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, how can a man perform so well against all odds? One might say that he has the dog in him, but maybe dog's not quite good enough. Maybe he has the GOAT in him. And maybe this is more literal than figuratively. There's a popular theory out there that Jimmy Butler is the blood son of the great Michael Jordan. Now, initially when I say that, you might be like, wow, crazy. I did too. And it's probably not true. But, let's play around with this idea for a little bit, that Jimmy Butler's actually Michael Jordan's son. Similar attributes, similar height, similar face structure. They kind of look alike. They kind of have the same playing style. They kind of have that same fight in them. They don't care who they're playing. They're going to go out and give it their all. And Michael Jordan was sick, and he still plays. Jimmy Butler barely has a team for a couple years. Now he does have a team. He plays. He's up against the number 1 Milwaukee Bucks. He plays. He does not care. And he becomes Superman in the playoffs. It's really strange. Jimmy Butler, he's a great player in the regular season, plays well. He's the star of the team. And then he enters the playoffs, and he switches into another gear. He becomes even better than he already is at 33 years old. Let me go through here. I have all 4 seasons that Jimmy Butler's been a part of the Heat and the result in the postseason. So we know the bubble year, kind of strange. Everyone goes to Disney World and they play in this bubble. They can't have any contact. Jimmy Butler opens a coffee shop. Crazy stuff. They go to the finals, and this team, Jimmy Butler literally just carries on his back and does everything. He literally takes them there himself, goes to the finals and plays LeBron and the Lakers and lose. But put up a fight, lose in 6 games, did very, very well. Jimmy Butler literally gave it all he had. The next year, they do take a step back. They get swept by the Milwaukee Bucks in 4. And then the next year, last year, they go to the conference finals. They're their number 1 seed. They're the best team in the East, seeding-wise. They go to the conference finals, and then they lose to Boston in 7 games. Jimmy Butler misses that shot. If you guys remember, he pulls up, and he misses that 3-point shot. That goes in. The Heat are in the finals again. This year, again, another kind of step back year. They're the 8 seed instead of the 1 seed. They barely get in. But they face the Milwaukee Bucks, who had swept them 2 years prior. 4-0, swept them. And Jimmy Butler says, you know what? I don't need to fear the deer. The deer needs to fear the heat and get out of the forest, because there's a forest fire burning, and it's called Jimmy Buckets. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. As I mentioned before, 56 points in Game 4, 42 in Game 5. He is Michael Jordan's son. Maybe not. Probably not. But it makes for good ratings. I wasn't able to find any stats, but I'd bet jersey sales for Jimmy Butler have just increased exponentially. Not just in Miami, but everywhere. Maybe I should go get one. NBA store is doing a promo right now. NBA 24. Any purchase over $24, you get free shipping. Fun, exciting matchup. Miami Heat, New York Knicks. Crazy to think that one of these teams is going to go to the Eastern Conference Finals. I wouldn't have guessed. I would not have guessed that. But I'm taking the Miami Heat. In Jimmy Butler, I trust. He's impressed me, and he's impressed everybody. So that's my Jimmy Butler episode. That's my spiel. I'll have more to talk about next week. But I just wanted, as a simple fan who respects the game respects game. So Jimmy Butler, this episode's for you. Thanks for listening to Fan Talk. Next week, things will get crazier. Tune in. Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube. Kyle Brinchley, signing off.